This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So, what we need to talk about is how do we automate on the PaaS model where it doesn't have a skill agent. So, what are the different ways we can automate in the PaaS environment? So, if you have to do any indexing also, rebuilding indexing also, you get your scripts and then store into stored proc and call the stored proc. How you execute the stored proc, I'm going to cover. You just use this methodology. It is better than on-prem. I can say that the automation what we're going to do in the PaaS model. You can build a one job. You can trigger on across all the servers in the cloud. It is possible. We can create a group of one job on group of servers, and you execute it. It runs on all the servers. You can build one job and to rebuild the indexes on all the servers. In parallel. In fact, it is possible. So we're going to see that how it is really possible to better job management in the cloud. Like it is like MSX master. We have MSX, TSX in the on-prem, right? So the same kind of thing we can build in the cloud also. Fine anyway. So that's 08097. Just make it unique. So there are many substitutes for our SQL agent jobs we are missing, but we have better options. Convert our SQL agent jobs into cloud jobs. It's a manual. This is something, yes, extra effort. We must keep it for doing it. It's not too tough. It is simple only. Just you have to spend good time to transfer if you have, there are many jobs. That is something. The pass is only login and job. These are the two major effort you have to keep it. Other than that, no great challenges. The challenges are there anyway. Like pass does not support you cannot enable the service broker, you cannot use a file stream, you cannot use a computed columns, and it does not come with required version of the SQL Server what you wanted. Edition, it is always by default to the 19 enterprise edition itself. You will get it actually, in fact. Okay. So there are certain challenges we need to go through, but that if they are meeting those challenges, then only we go to the pass model anyway. So PaaS model comes at the higher cost compared to VM side because it is a managed service. The Azure is managing it. So there are trade-offs, of course. Uh, which one to be go when depends on the if client don't want to the 19 version for any reason. Is already working on-prem with the stabilized application. You don't want to do the upgrade when he's moving to cloud. The option is only VM because PaaS model or managed instance does not give you the flexibility of choosing what you want, in fact.
I have a question, Ravinder. Once we deploy into, like past models, we have SQL 2019. Like my
Mm.
application is running with the SQL Server 2012 in on-prem. We can go back to the past database. We can change that compatibility level from 110, right?
The past 2020 is not, it is still in beta version. It's not production use yet. You cannot use. It's still in CT version, a customer improvement, CIP program, customer improvement program. So it's not fully live yet. Are you
Okay.
using 2022?
Not 2022. I'm using 2019 only. So what I did
19
is
only,
I
yeah.
Yeah, what I did is
Yeah.
I created one past database and I checked what is the compatibility mode for the database. It is showing like compatibilities as per sequence of 2019 only. But what I did is I made the changes for the compatibility level. It will allow me, right? We can do same thing here also. Like
No, that's all that will allow. You have a backward compatibility where you can run your database and then lower version itself that can compatible, but some the certain features that you
mm,
have in the on-prem that is not available in the past. In fact, feature
oh,
side you don't
mm,
have because the the limitations around it.
okay, thank
So so if they need it, they have to go to the VM side itself. There is no other option left for them.
you. Okay,
And again, the costing also matters. The PaaS model, anything that is managed by the cloud will cost you more. VM something you are managing most of it. So that comes at cheaper cost compared to the PaaS services are managed instance. So I'll cover managed instance in the next class anyway with the full documentation I created. It is simple, very simple. I'll give a fair idea how you migrate also. It accepts the .bak file to restore just like VM. So only the thing is you connect that URI, the name of the SQL managed instance. We'll see that how it look like compared to it is almost like PaaS only. It is hybrid service, combination of VM and the PaaS equivalent to the managed instance. Once database is created, it becomes PaaS model, but the management how you do is like a VM. So it's a combination of both. So I'm going to build one database like AutoDB. One database must be dedicated as MSDB. We have to build like that. We'll talk about it, how we can enable leverage the database to use as a MSDB. I'm just preparing servers and databases for our discussion. Okay, fine. So we have two servers here. Let me open up the firewall for my IP. Fine. First, let me cover on-prem automation. So how we can use on-prem SQL agent to automate in the cloud. So let's talk about that and then move towards other types of automation. So I have the cloud server and the cloud database. I wanted to use my on-prem SQL agent to automate something in this database. It is possible if you have a network communication. Mostly you'll have it communications, point to site or site to site. Something there will be internal authorization. That's how you connect from on-prem if you require. But it all matters whether if they are opening the communication or also matters. So what exactly I mean? So sometimes they might restrict if they restrict this doesn't work, but you can use a cloud VM escalation to automate the same thing. You can do multiple ways. This is on-prem, it's a cloud. I have the SQL server here, it's a PaaS here. I wanted to take the advantage of the SQL agent in the on-prem SQL server. If you don't have a cloud VM and then here you don't have a SQL server, you can use this to automate here. But again, this should this should connect to this one to do that. There should be a communication opened up. If not, you can leverage the cloud VM SQL server to automate here. So do something which can be communicatable to that PaaS model from the VM side SQL server SQL agent. It is a limited. It is not you can do everything what you can do through a job, but some few things DDL operations cannot be managed, but DML operations all can be managed. So I'll talk about this. There are limitations, but still certain extent you can automate using the on-prem SQL agent or cloud VM SQL agent within the cloud PaaS SQL server. if they communicate. Mostly cloud to cloud they'll communicate at least, but use one of the option which is possible for your environment. So now I need to form the link server between this server to this server, then access it and do it what I wanted. So I'm going to go and create a link server. So before it actually goes through the ODBC connection only. That's the thing you have to follow. ODBC drivers. It does not go through SQL native client or SQL Server OLEDB. The SQL driver is OLEDB, right? So it does not fall under that category. You have to create your own ODBC external driver and then you have to connect it. The process of connecting to the PaaS model is little different. So from wherever the server you're doing the automation using the SQL agent, there you have to create the OD system DSN. So use the system DSN and it is ODBC. But here you'll use SQL native client only inside in it in the system DSN. Go to here, add, use SQL native client 11.0 for all versions when you are making remote connections through ODBC, or in fact for that matter when you are making a link server concept also use SQL Server native client 11.0. So use finish, and I'm going to use this as a cloud server. This is the one I'm going to call to talk to, and here I'm going to give the cloud server name. Next, and I'm going to give the username password which can talk to the cloud server. Next, and what database I wanted to connect to. I wanted to connect to test database. This database. It is connecting because I gave the server authenticated user and I gave the server name both. So it is reading all databases from the cloud server. You can see that. I'm selecting this. Here maximum we can do read write or read only. You cannot do the DML operation. It is limited, very limited. So I'm going with the read write for doing it. So if you have example pass failover groups, then use this one, but it is not. You can directly make primary itself better. That is, we discussed pass failover groups, not so sophisticated. After the failover, we have seen the issues and all that. Anyway, you are connecting to the server and database what you wanted to do the automation. Connect to that and give the read write. And here leave it as this, which is fine. Test the connection. It went fine. Click it OK. Click it OK. And the cloud server, this is you have to keep in mind. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to link that server in the on-prem link server. Here cloud DB something, and it is external source. External source has what? ODBC, because I created a ODBC driver for that. MS SQL, the keyword for this. And our data source is cloud server, what I kept in the DSN. Whatever I kept in the DSN, I have to use that ODBC 64-bit the operating system. That's why cloud server. This should be correct here. Cloud server, yeah. And what database I'm connecting here? Test database. And what security I'm going through? Ravinder. Server options. If you want to let your stored procs to go and fetch out the data, enable that and create it and test it. It is working fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in the cloud. I'll create one empty table because you cannot do the DDL operations using the on-prem link server. The limitation is only DML. So certain extent, we are using this concept actually on some servers. So I'm just creating one table. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert the data. I'm going to read from the cloud table where it is empty, but I'm going to do the operations from the on-prem. It is empty. I'm reading from the cloud database, and this is on-prem connection. So when I'm doing it, insert into, I have to go through the server name, give it in the square bracket, cloud DB dot, what is the cloud database name? Test. What is the schema name? DBO. What is the table name? Student. Values. You have to give that entire hierarchy. Okay. So I'm just going to insert some data and play around with operations. Something like this. So I'll go by 5 times. 5 times I want to execute that. So right, if you go and read this data from the cloud database, you'll find it 20 records. You see this? Now, if I wanted to update, so what I'm from where I inserted the data from on-prem server. You see this from on-prem server. So I wanted to update the entire hierarchy again. Okay, set maybe S name to just for the use case. In there where S number equal to 4 something. So before I read this data, wherever S number 4 is Srinivas 5 times, this is going to match on that and then replace with the S name as Ravinder. So if I update, it updated 5 records because on 5 records it is matching in fact. If you go and read, the Srinivas got updated with Ravinder. You can see that. And if you want to uh, insert, update, delete, right? So you can also read from here also, just the case like you have to use this hierarchy, nothing. Now, how do I delete if I wanted to delete? So delete from that entire thing where s number equal to 1, just for the use case. I'm going to put this in a job. So let's just like automation. They can archive, they can merge the data with on-prem, they can do anything that they wanted through a job. It is possible. Cloud data something. I wanted to build a job and execute the job. Step name cloud job, whatever it is. Fine. I'm not just scheduling it. Schedules I don't want to explain. You all know that. So now I'll go to that cloud data job. Before, if I read this, I have 5 records. Once I run the job, what happens? Those will be cleaned up. If I go and read, it gone. Why? Because you deleted through a job, a scheduled job. It's not just the deletion, it can be any operation. Maybe you have a continuous integration with the cloud with the DML operations. Maybe you're getting some updates every day and pushing it to cloud through. on-prem table to cloud table or directly pushing some changes from on-prem to cloud, you can do what you wanted to do. You got the access to do all your DML operations as per your logic, business logic that requires. But you have the reachability of the cloud using the on-prem agent on a schedule basis, using your own schedules. That's what I wanted to show. Is it clear? Yes or no?
It's
Clear,
clear,
right?
Ravi.
It is simple, in fact. Next, I'll go with the Azure Elastic Agent job, which is very important for us to understand. This one. So here, it need a database and server to keep the automation details. It's like MSDB, Cloud MSDB, you can say that. You have to dedicate one database for this purpose. The database must be having 10 DTOs. Standard tier, 10 DTOs minimum. If you go with the basic database, it won't work. Minimum 10 DTOs under standard tier. Create Elastic AN job. It is a very simple service, but very useful. SQL automation. I can give anything. Select the server and database. Server is this, and I created AutoDB that purpose itself. So if I go and check the AutoDB, you don't find anything as of now. It is absolutely empty. Sorry, not here. I don't need on-prem anymore. So here, AutoDB, if you look at, you don't have tables. It is empty. But when I use this as a MSDB in this service creation, it creates a lot of inbuilt tables to track that job schedules and target groups and the history of the job run. To maintain it, it maintains, this database. So when I'm creating, I'm claiming the server and database. That's it. And giving a name, review and create. So once it get created, it creates a lot of inbuilt tables through that service, which will be used by the system for tracking the jobs. So you will see it. I mean, as it is getting deployed, you'll see the more tables created here. Meanwhile, I wanted to discuss managed instance if possible. Here it is, Mongo. Fine. Central Mongo. Fine. We'll see. This will take 3 to 4 minutes, most probably. It's still deploying. I have a documentation on it. Every step is recorded. I mean, I built in sequential order. You just follow this script model. So this is more than enough. Just you don't feel comfortably directly doing it. I mean, just do once or twice, practice with it. You get, I mean, you feel like it is not that tough. But when you go through the first time, you feel like little clumsy kind of thing. It is not. You don't have a choice to, you know, this is the best option we have in the cloud to automate. So you definitely have to get this. So it is tracking all this, okay? All the tables which are built by that service, what we just built, this one. Now, if you click on this, it tracks all the jobs that you created, okay? Latest 100 job executions. It is just showing us history of that every day, the status of the job. Can refresh to get the ongoing jobs if they are executing. So then jobs, what are the jobs you created and what schedules you applied? What are the target groups? What are the credentials to talk to? This is all something we're going to do. You cannot do anything in the cloud except monitoring. Monitoring only possible thing here. You cannot monitor, you cannot change anything what you defined. You can only monitor. So now if I go to here, first thing is let me tell you one more server I'll take it. You don't have to go with a group of server only, but I'll talk about group of servers parallel to finish the topic. I'm going to create a job which triggers on two servers on two different databases the same thing. Whenever you need same kind of job and group of server to be hit, like indexing needed by all the servers, all databases. You want to hit parallelly because every database is using different resources. There is no issue in fact. You can run parallelly. So this kind of thing you can use it to run across the board using a single job. So this works there. So I'm correcting to this. Either use it one server, all servers. It's just a one-time configuration. So whenever you have to do multi-server, you know, job configuration, then this is also helpful for us. So one thing, this database is running the certain task to run on the rest of the databases. It need internal authorization to talk to. So let me explain this a little bit in the diagram. I have a server, different servers. It can be two or three or four, whatever it is. This is AutoDB. These are all other databases in each server. This AutoDB, whatever I am going to automate, this is going to trigger. When it is triggering, it has to communicate to this database within the server also. It has to communicate to this database. It has to communicate to this database. So there should be a login across all servers, and that login should be there in all databases as the same account, which can use to talk to. So see, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a credential here. The credential will hold a username password, and I'm going to call that credential in the script. When you call the credential, it calls the username password. That username password should exist in all target servers so that it can go through seamlessly using that username password and do the job what it has to. Because it cannot go interactive authentication, right? It is a system. You have to give something inbuilt within it. So it can go with that username password and communicate. So you have to create one user across all the servers, all the databases to have that level of communication to do the job. So first, if you look at this, create the Elastic Agent job service and use one of the database for creating the Elastic Agent job. This part is done just now. Create login and user on agent at AutoDB database with the DB owner for that login as a user and on all target databases where we are going to automate the job. The same thing. So I created the first thing is done. We are on the second step. I need to create a login wherever I'm going to hit. Directly you can create the user also. You don't have to create definitely a login, but I'm creating here a login and what it is saying. Oh, sorry, I have to create this in the master as it is login. I'm going to create here also. Then this login is created in both the targets. Then I'm going to create user for that login everywhere, wherever the job is going to do the job. And I'm giving a DB owner. You don't have to give a DB owner if it is not doing all the operations. Maybe you are limiting your operations to DML itself, then give the data writer. That's enough. But I'm going with the here also you have to give a DB owner because that user only can modify the jobs and all that. So job user I created, job user login, and I'm creating the user first, then giving the roles to it, DB owner. Here also I'm going to do that, the user on the same server. Here also I'm going to do that because I created login here also. So in all possible, wherever you wanted to do some automation, that account should exist across all the servers because I'm going to embed this username and the password in the credential. I'll call the credential. That credential will trigger that username password to talk to the server seamlessly. That is the second step. We are done. This one is done. Credentials. We have to create the credential only on the AutoDB. Okay. This credential will let us to talk to the servers, because this credential we are having it in AutoDB can be used to communicate with the other one. So basically, this master key is not required as such. It won't get referenced anywhere. But if I create a credentials directly without a master key, it will throw there create the master key first. I don't know what's the dependency for sure, because we don't call the master key anywhere. But still, as it has a dependency, create the master key first and then create the credential next. That way, as it is requiring. So we created a credentials on the database. Now using that credential, first I'll create a group called SQL group, or you can name it anything. Everything we do it on the AutoDB now. We don't do on anything. Now I'm creating a group called SQL group. Now as soon as you create a group, you'll find the group in the target Elastic Agent service. Come on, wake up. If you look at this, there is a target. What are the members inside it? You cannot find. It is just you can only see the target. Jobs not yet built. We only created credentials also. It is showing. See, job user credentials where I embedded already username password in it. If I call this, it will call this username and password. This username password can talk to this database and all. Now we're going to add the members into it. What are the members we're going to add? This syntax. You can add n number of members into one single target. So the syntax is add target group member, add target group member. It is a SQL group what I just created. I'm referencing the SQL group. And what we are trying to add SQL database target type. And the server first to talk to that. So the test 08097, this one, test 08097, and here it is a DR server. DR server, it should be correct. If you make the spelling wrong, it won't reach. And here test database, here cloud database. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a group. Inside the group, I'm adding two members. If I run a job on this group, you run the job on the group, it goes and do the same thing on these two databases. If you want to do more, create more members. There is no limitation on the number of members you can add into a group. You can add all of them. You have 100 servers. You wanted to schedule one that job on all 100 servers at one go and add. So it is not mandated that all have to be added. One server is also fine. In the on-prem, generally, you create one job and job will hit the target database, a specific database all the time. So that way you can create a target group with one group only, one member only in it. So I wanted to cover the other one also. So that's why I'm creating two members into the group. All right, it is done. So now, if you go and verify what are the members later on, you wanted to check in the group what are the members have been added, we can verify it. So using the script, there are two members. These two are the servers. These two are the databases. Where here databases. So then we're done. What step we are done? Creating the credentials, creating the group and group members, and job next I have to create. So job here, I'm creating a job called SQL job. You can give any name, what the job name is. Then we have to add what the job has to do, right? So the job has to do create table something, just a script you want to execute. So job is creating a table called lab. Tenant as this, and I can go add something else also. So you're creating a job and the SQL group using the credential, and this is a command it has to execute when the job runs, right? If I create this job, it will be shown in the cloud also. The job name here, I just created this thing, right? SQL job. Now I wanted to execute it. Before I execute, if I go and verify, you don't find the lab table here because I did not create it. You don't find the table here also. As soon as I execute that job, you will get that, you know, data into it. So the second step anyway, I wanted to execute the job first. To view the job, what you job is really doing, the scripts or whatever it is, you can see it. This is job name, this is what the command it is running, this is credential what it is using, and it is running on this target group. So I'm going to execute the job. You don't have to, we'll schedule it also, we'll see that. But I wanted to trigger it and then show you. If I run the job, it is successful. But is a job is successful or not? You can verify it. You can verify in the portal, you can verify from here, we can verify all this. This job is succeeded, right? Oh, it is waiting on something. Job execution waiting for the job step to complete. Ah, it is done the job. What is wait? Okay, it is succeeded. So now if you go and check this table's list, you'll find the lab, see? And here also you'll find the lab, right? So if I wanted to do something, a stored proc, instead of this, I wanted to just execute a stored proc. Let me build a stored proc, custom stored proc. Procedure, data load as feature. Do I have this? This one, I'll add this thing as it is. Then I'm adding every command into that stored proc. Update feature, set feature where s number equal to 4. Right. What does this stored proc do? This should be a T name because I mentioned as T, right? Also T number because the table definition is going with T. So here also T number. Right. So I'm creating a stored procedure called sp_underscore data load. It is going to, in the first, it is going to create a table. It is going to insert 4 records, Jeevan, David, and Mesfin and Srinivas. And it is going to update a first record Jeevan with Ravinder. And it is going to delete the Srinivas record. These are the operations the stored proc will do when I call it. So I'm creating a stored proc. It is created. If I call that stored proc sp underscore data load, directly call it, what does it do? You don't have a teacher table on the test. If I run this, it is going to create. It is created, 4 inserted, 1 row updated, 1 row deleted. So you see this, the series of operations are going on in the stored proc, within the stored proc, what is encapsulated. If I'm trying to read, what do you find here? 3 records. One is with Ravinder, G1 got updated, and the 4th record Srinivas also got deleted. It is doing what it has to do. So I'm going to delete this table. I'm going to automate that. I'm going to show that how you can trigger a stored proc rather a script. So either you run a script or a stored proc through a job. That's what you do, right? So I'm going to create the same stored proc here also. Done. Come back to this. I'm going to create a new job called yeah, job 2 this time. It's doing different job altogether, right? Then what I need to do after job, what I need to call the stored proc within a job. So here sp execute sp underscore load. Was that correct? Data load correct. Credential group, everything is fine. So here you don't have the table. If I show this, I covered both. Running the script, running the stored proc. That's what a job do ultimately. Either a script, what they are giving, you keep it here, or a stored proc. So encapsulate everything into stored proc. What you want to do, reindexing, reorganize, whatever it is. You just get your script and load into stored proc and call it the stored proc that way. So now I'm running this job too. Okay, it should do the stored proc execution on both the servers. I'll run this. So now to check that status again, I'll run this. Oh, what happened? I did not execute. Sorry, I just created. I need to run the job first. Now you can verify. Succeeded. It is working on the finishing thing. Oh, it succeeded. Now you go and check on this one. You will find the teacher table and you will find the 3 records. Here also you'll check. You'll find that it did the job anyway. Else it would have shown something different outcome. It is successful. See 3 records with Ravind first and the 4th record got deleted. So the stored proc did the job. So you create a job like this. Add the what the job has to do here and the group using this credential. A group can be a say one server, one database as like on-prem. A group can be a group of hundreds, depends on the requirement. You want to do the master job which runs on all the targets at one schedule, like reindexing, reorganizing, update statistics, check DB. All this can be done, uh, I mean, at parallelly on all the servers at one go on one schedule on the weekend or whatever the maintenance window you have it. You schedule, it runs on all the servers with the one SQL agent, Elastic Agent Job Service across the board. If you wanted to create a job on independent servers, create it, go and create it. So if you go to here, you'll see the status of each job status here, how it's going on with the job. So it is supporting 100 jobs latest. So create up to 100 jobs in each Elastic Agent job. And if you need one more, create another Elastic Agent job to manage other group of servers. So for better managing it. Okay. Now, how do you schedule it? The schedule, update the job name, enable the scheduling, and scheduling interval is days. Every day at what time? 1 a.m. it should run. You run this like this, it will schedule a job. Okay. Enable interval every 1 minute. This thing every 1 hour, you keep it 1 hour. Every day at what time and how many times the schedule need to trigger. So you can keep this schedule. So I kept a URL. I didn't keep the URL here. Okay. If you wanted to schedule a job, example, now you'll find this schedule also here. Come and refresh this. A job which reoccurring job runs every 10 minutes and it is enabled for execution of reoccurrently. So you can see that schedule. It is only once the other one, but this is reoccurring, runs every 10 minutes interval count. You can find like this of information and what is your how many target groups you created, what credentials it is using, and what are the jobs executed so far. And this is triggered just now. This won't go to success even if it is triggered through a scheduled job. I schedule it, right? This will not do the job because it is trying to create the same table, right, in the initial step. So it will wait forever and anyway it will write the log. What it is saying, command failed. It is trying to create the same object. There is already an object named teacher in the database. Yeah, it is on both the servers. So this will run for next, it won't kill the job instantly. It does 5 attempts to before it fails. 15 minutes roughly it takes to just to fail itself. It does the reattempt. The good part of the cloud is if a job is failed because of the blocking, deadlock, or any sudden reasons it is failed, it reattempts twice, thrice, in fact. Then it will fail the job. So reattempt is inbuilt. You don't have to worry about. So if you look at this job is already failed, but it is going through reattempts. To get this failed, at least it takes 10 minutes to show the actual outcome of the job because it does the reattempts. But you know it is going to definitely fail. You want to kill a job for any reason, you can kill with the job ID. No worst case. Because you know that it is definitely is going to, I mean, it is causing some issue, a job which is creating blockings because it is doing some maintenance activities after business hours. It got delayed something. Here you go with the job ID here. This is a job ID. If you look at this job ID is different for this four. This one, you look at this one. So if you look at this one, this four are with ran with one ID and this one with the one ID. Which are failing right now? This ID. So I'll pick up this. I'll stop with that ID. Now, if you go and check in the portal, also it updates the status. It is a cancelled. You can see that, and you will see the status also. Not the update. This one, as it is cancelled. Why it is cancelled? It is running. It is failed anyway. What it is said is correct, but it is going to make more attempts before it fails. It's keep doing, trying to do the execution. So this won't be the case in the real time. Don't worry. I just created a use case how you can run a stored product. That is the only thing. What the logic in it, you don't own it. That is owned by development team. We don't. We are not expected to know entire logic within the stored product. Yes, what the at least higher level what the stored product is really doing. DML, DDL, or what it is doing, merging the data, pushing the data somewhere. So what exactly is Stoodproc doing? At least if you get an idea that at least you how big data it is going to operate. Maybe like you don't need that initial stage of your DBA life with the product. Actually, you down the line you need to get to the business model first. That's where you get architect role. That's what I do. Anywhere I go to a new job, first trying to understand the architecture of the application rather looking at anyway you will learn the database technology eventually in few weeks itself. It won't take too long as an experienced person. The problem is application, what they are dealing with, what type of data. Is it pure text-based data or image-based data? Where you'll have image-based data, that database will grow very fast. If it text-based, data generally what they use it, then it will not grow that fast because it is comes in the form of bytes. The videos, photos, scan docs, this kind of things. If they are dealing with, the database can grow drastically overnight sometimes because of the load. Such kind of data comes with a higher sizes, right? So understand what the business is doing and what database, what type of data. So why it is growing. If it is growing too abnormally, what data they are pumping in. Text won't grow that rigorously. If you look at text won't grow. So when they deal with images, they deal with something raw file, something kind of there. You really see that database are growing really badly. So understand it takes some experience with the project to understand each application, each server database. When you connect to that side, you can tune your system, in fact, more better. If you do blindly, maybe it will match, may not match. But when you understand the business and tune it, that help the people a lot. Anyway, that comes with the experience with the project. And the first day, you cannot attempt to do the best tuning and all. Takes time. Okay, so this is all about Elastic Agent job. Any questions around it? I'll circulate this document anyway on the Google Drive. You can download it from there. Next, I'll go to next automation type is um, Elastic Agent job is over. Logic app automation. Let's talk about that. Logic app automation. This is limited. We don't use it, but is another way of doing the automation. We are using Elastic Agent job only, but if you want to automate a single job on a single database, then this is a other thing you can use it. Logic app. Where is the logic app? You see it. Oh, here it is. So what I'm going to do, it is a stored proc. Either it can be a script you can run, but it is limited to run only on one database, one server at a time, not like Elastic in job. Go to here, create a logic app. For each job, one logic app you have to create. Okay. So go to resource group, logic app name is 7M. What is the 7M? Test 0808, test 08097, test one, hyphen test database, DML operation. Something. You give a proper description to understand the job. Here, always workflow and stand consumption. Don't go with the standard. We have to create a consumption instead of standard. For a job, always use the consumption. And here I'm going to use India. Okay. Then a review and create. That's it. You give a job name, you give a region, and use a consumption and create it. It is simple thing, guys. It's very straightforward. It's like one job, one SQL agent job equivalent to. Come on, really, it's taking this long to show up. Oh, sorry. I'm checking where I am checking. Logic app, right? Sorry. So when you open the Logic app, always it will take you to design by default. So every time you open it, it will take you to design. In fact, directly it loads into design. But if you wanted to go to again normal page, you general overview, you click on the Logic app and it take you to click on this. You'll come back. Again, you wanted to load into the design part. You look at this Logic App Designer. Logic App Designer is a very vast service, in fact, to automate. It's not just a automation of the skill. It it has all the service automations, in fact. It's a very big, in fact. It's a very vast. So you can automate something to on the web service and Windows server, a Linux server. You have all sort of automations from here, but it is limited to one task and one server. It's not a central job kind of thing. I need something recurrently. Use recurrence. Click on that. Let me see recurrently, but okay, but category. What is I wanted is recurrence, of course. These are all templates for talking to. You can take the data from Gmail, Twitter, any social media platform if you have that API plugins available. Okay. Oh, okay. So here it is giving you SQL. Maybe I did last time, could be, but you will find a huge, services list here. What to schedule on. So to find, if you look, it will land like this when you come to the design part. When you create a recurrence, in fact, SQL Server. If you type, it will come in the search. SQL space server. This one. Call this. And action, execute a query and execute a stored proc. So execute a query. The heck, it is going more in detail. This is not required. Just execute a query. Delete a row. Why this is coming like this? Delete a row, execute SQL query. This is what I wanted, right? Yeah. What need it to move ahead? Click on this, it should go to the next. It is coming here again. The heck? It's got changed, in fact, it seems. Modified, no. That was the one. Hmm. Okay. But what is the connection it is going to go? Okay, so let me do this. Recurrent. It has to run every day. Once Test run every day once. Time zone UTCR IST, whatever it is, plus 530. Here it goes year, month, date, time format. Year, month, date. 2023. Month is second month. Date is 24. Time is should execute at 1 a.m. 0000. Then at these hours is given, right? If I go to next step, here it is, right? You have the recurrence there. I'm clicking on this. Now execute a query. Now it asks for this. Okay. Connection, SQL Server connection, and SQL Server authentication. The server name. The server name is this. Anything for that matter. This is server name. Database name is cloud. Username, password. That's it. Create. It is a connection. What it is going through. Then this is our server. This is our database. What you want to run? A query. Click on it. And a query, whatever the developer is giving you, you keep this query here. Um, just I'm keeping it something here. A table creation. Developer will give you a script. Paste the script here. That's it. Okay, this is enough. I'm going to save this. Oh, what went wrong? Just need what? At this hours. Oh, at one. It runs every day at 1 a.m. Why this is then required? Good enough. It took. So now, if I go back, it will run on the schedule what I have given, but I'll trigger it manually. Refresh. It did the job actually for sure. By now, you'll see the customer table right here. It has succeeded already. What is this in fact? Why it is running on the second step again? Maybe it triggered on it one, even I triggered. Both the cases happened. So this will fail. So the failure case also let's cover. If a job fails, how do you troubleshoot? This also does 3 attempts before it fails. A minute it is going to take. I'll run again. So twice it is running. So this one, if you look at again, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. I just wanted to get failed one. So we'll see about how you can troubleshoot if it fails. It's like a normal SQL agent job, I would say. I'm waiting one of the tasks to be failed. Okay, it is failed. Click on this and click on this. It will tell you the actual message. What is the problem? There is an already object called customer. The next schedule is also doing the customer creation. So it definitely fails, usual, right? So this way you can schedule a job and then monitor a job and then troubleshoot a job. Click on this and go to the where it is failed on what step, and then go to the messages where you can find the actual issue of the job why it is failed. This way you can troubleshoot. But this is limited to one task at a time, not multiple. Okay. So we covered three types of automation: on-prem SQL agent, logic app, elastic agent job. So what left is runbook automation and PowerShell automation and managed instance. Next class I'll extend a little for sure, at least 15 to 20 minutes. That will be the closing class anyway. Monday we'll extend it a little. The PowerShell will take half an hour. The run book will take 20 minutes, roughly 1 hour. Yeah, so it is okay. We can cover next three topics in next class. Yeah. So that's all for today. So actually, just a minute. I'm stopping the video.